Hi, this is Privateer Station, and today we're bringing you day 234 of Ukraine War Diaries, done in the usual conversational format between Olexiy Arestovich, Lieutenant Colonel, advisor to the Office of the President of Ukraine, and Mark Feygin, Russian opposition politician. Enjoy. Dear friends, glad to see you all on Feygin Live. It is day 234. And we're doing the usual stream with Olexiy Arestovich. Olexiy, glad to see you. Good evening. All right, it's Saturday, October 15th. It's 1 minute past 10 in Kiev. Over 130,000 watching us. 23,000 click the like button. Those who haven't done yet, please do it. That definitely helps to promote the video. Share links in your social media, in your forums, places where you discuss these events. Subscribe to Feigin Live, to Olexiy Arestovich, and to Privateer Station if you are listening to that in English and have not done that yet. Let's start with news. It appears we do have some news. Are you winking towards Kherson? Yeah, some evil tongues. All right, we are discussing what they're posting on Russian forums. These are not official confirmations from Ukraine. So they're saying that some horrible Ukraine troops started a rapid movement toward Berislav and caused a lot of grief since this morning, and also shelled with artillery and aviation. And there is a lot of panic statements in their forums. But it's difficult to trust them, so we're just observing what they're talking about. They have definitely a lot of fears about this territory that they occupied. So the main red line is that they fear that the remainder of this territory that they had on the right bank will be shrinking and shrinking and shrinking due to all of these things they describe in their fears. And we understand the logic is very straightforward. The smaller territory, the more difficult it is to hold it. This is like Brezhnev's small land that's just shrinking, and now they will be attacked on three sides, and eventually they'll end up being in 3/4 surrounded and being shelled and shot continuously. Not a single army in the world can resist for too long in these conditions. So Russian public discussions, Russian forums, they appeared to be very panicky in the morning, and then when information from the officials or some people from the official side would interject and say, stop panicking, let's stop these moods, let's go support our troops, let's be very supportive of our fighters. And then they don't have any shades, they don't have any grades between that, so they immediately switch the lever to full optimism, and then all of a sudden, after that interjection by an official, everything is peachy, shiny, and the war was won. They don't have, it's on or off, they don't really have any other position. So we can only say that things have started, according to what they're posting. Some events are unfolding in Kherson, so we have not verified anything yet. Our central command has not verified any of these motions yet. Similar things in Zaporozhye, as they were yesterday, nothing new. Some random shelling. Mariinka, enemy is trying to even do some counterattacks there, but keep losing their fighters, and these attacks will be fruitless. So, a little north of that, near Avdiivka, Gorlovka, they continue attacks. They are trying to expand their captured territory. That has been going on for about a month. without any results. Bakhmut, if we go higher north, from Zaitsevo to Bakhmut. I know these areas very well. At some point I was serving there. It is a difficult situation there still. They have a mix of mobilized infantry with inmates. Russian artillery is still trying to shell our positions, and then when we withdraw, they try to occupy that, then we come back, defeat them, take the position back. They got a notable amount of support. Are these mobilized people? Oh, no. We starting to get more support. Okay, got it. So as we promised, we were saying that there'll be some help coming, right? So yeah, the help is there, and things are changing. Situation is still difficult because their artillery concentration is rather high, but we are starting to change the dynamics on this part of the front. If we go a little further north, along the line of Kupiansk, Kremennoye, Svatovo Kremennoye. So in open forums of DNR, LNR, fake republics, they had interesting pictures with quotations that Union forces or Allied forces. What allies are they talking about? Because they recently were annexed. They're part of Russia now, as Russia thinks. So anyway, discrepancies. Now they're digging some anti-tank trenches, anti-tank engineering installations. The fun part is that they put pictures from the German installations back in 1942 to promote their effort. I'm glad they defined their role in this conflict, but frankly, they could have used a bit fresher imagery. So that was funny. Belgorod, they continue having issues with safety. Electric station, there was safety incident there, so it went out. Also, something happened in their tents on the military training field, and they had fire, so that even some of the metal beds melted. And then they also had an incident with some guys from Tajikistan, as far as I understand, and they used a machine gun. 11 killed, 13 wounded. Russian media, Baza, is reporting that somebody opened fire in one of the military encampments in Belgrade. 11 dead, 13 wounded, according to preliminary data. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the incident I was referring to. And I just want to say they'll have more and more incidents like that. Social tensions, just general war-related tensions, class, religious, and other conflicts among the mobilized will be growing, especially in light of their poor destiny when they die almost immediately once they get to the front line, because they lack equipment, preparedness. Melitopol, also, they had an aggregation of Russian equipment and logistical materials and supplies, and as their forums are stating that there were some booms, some explosion sounds coming from that airport, and as a result there is a tall plume of smoke rising over that. And observers from location are saying that we have also targeted very successfully 3 artillery strikes in that southern area, and they have hundreds of 200s, hundreds of perished fighters, so we'll see. So I guess the pinnacle of the last 24 hours are the events in Kherson area and some very successful strikes of Ukraine artillery and aviation on the occupant positions. Let's discuss the following. Mobilized. They actually starting to get coffins back to Russia or notes about deaths. They are burying them. These pictures are showing up and videos showing up. We haven't seen the official statements by governors or politicians about the lost people earlier. Now they have to. They don't really have a wiggle window. Relatives are saying, posting a lot info about the burials and everything. So that's definite new event in their media sphere. Before that, they were, professional military, signed contract, stop whining. Here it's different. Somebody was conscribed, sent to the front, 10, 15 days, he's dead. So in your opinion, where do you think that red line goes? Where's their limit? Because there'll be thousands of them coming. Mark, I'm thinking we're looking probably at 50,000. 50,000 wouldn't matter. What time frame do you think it'll take you to get to that point? It's not important, Mark. It just roughly is a saturation of the media sphere that basically everybody would have a friend or relative that died on the front. So it won't be like it has been until now that some posts online, some other things, but nobody, So they will have actual knowledge. Also, by the way, I got the note that yesterday Legion of Russia destroyed ammo dump of the occupants, and those were very successful operations. So they're here, they're fighting, all's good. And another piece of information, Olexiy, I heard I wanted to address is that there are trains with Russian mobilized troops coming to Belarus, and they're being greeted and met with music and, music, vodka, strippers, and everything. Today we have a general on our side who commented these events, and he'll smile here, Mark. He said it'll take them 2-3 months to actually prepare any troops invasion from the north. That 2-3 month reference. But wait, how will they advance? You guys blew up all the bridges and fortified the borders, right? Yeah, we totally turned our northern borders into a fortified area. And frankly, Mark, if I am feeling sorry for any of the mobilized at all, the ones, I kind of feel sorry for all of them, but the ones who may get an order to advance toward Kiev, their destiny will be horrible. And, like I was watching the media here, I saw some people shooting videos there. They look like they're just, IT dudes being thrown there. But, so that. Another funny one was there was some small rebellion on one of the planes, the military cargo planes. They dragged the second pilot from his seat and beaten him up. So, in Russia, everything turns in some weird carnival. It just, be it mobilization or castration or whatever. Mark, when they'll start grabbing the first pilot from behind the wheel and take him out and throw him out during the flight, then we'll be at a good spot. Well, in your opinion, earlier through Belarus, there was a motion of some regular army detachments in the beginning phases of war. How many mobilized do you think they need to aggregate there? I would say for Putin to have an idea to send somebody to Kiev and to tickle us here, or maybe take some suburbs, repeat Bucha's drama, probably 20,000 could be enough. But I'm afraid they'll have Chernobyevka drama repeat instead of Bucha. Well, I don't think we'll count as many times as Chernobyevka did occur. Well, it'll probably be, a shorter but more intensive Chernobyevka situation, and that ideation will come to an end. So Lukashenko was giving, his usual interview describing his position. He's like a two-sided dildo. I'm sorry, I like these salty comparisons. because he said, yeah, on one side he's saying we're supporting Russia, on the other side he's saying Ukraine shouldn't be afraid of us because we are not participating. I just led them through my territory and I'm not a participant. Do you think it'll continue for him, that he'll continue being like a revolving door from the north? Well, he hopes, I think, that at some point, if situation unfold as they are and Russia goes through some sort of collapse and this war ends, he will take a position that, see, we never actually participated. We just bent to satisfy Russian aggressive demands, but we never actually attacked in person. What other options does he have? Well, for Ukraine, you guys don't like anybody like that on your northern border. Otherwise, it'll repeat again. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out, Mark. Everybody understands things, and I don't think we need to go in details about how long will Belarus regime hold after Moscow regime gets toppled. And Alexander Lukashenko cannot ungrind the meat bag and make it whole. Not because of us, really, but because of Belarus people. They're still upset with him and his politics and his everything. And we can just say, hey, they just went through our territory. It's Belarus people. It's not us. Very symmetrical. For 16 minutes, we have been live. We have 390,000 watching us, and over 100,000 of them clicked the like button. Another question that many people keep asking, I know it's a bit bothersome, but Elon Musk, in the new series of his tweets, he is just tearing the mic. He's the hero of the dance floor again. So now, besides just asking money for Starlink, okay, I can understand that, it's business. He wants money, so I think there'll be some ways that'll be resolved. But he continues to post tweets that are even wilder than the earlier volleys. That Moscow can destroy Europe and America in an hour, half an hour, whatever. And the most important line is that we need to retreat from that catastrophic line that we approached so close again in the last 60 years. I have a version that he's a cosmologist protagonist who wants to leave this planet, and he's afraid that he wouldn't have time to flee, to leave the planet. Let me leave it, and then you can do whatever. Well, he published a new tweet, and I'm reading it as, he's saying that he'll continue running Starlink for free for Ukraine and incurring terrible expenses, and I take my words back. Although I'm very pissed by your statements and critique, but I'll continue supporting Ukraine with my Starlinks for free. Which shows that a good word is good, but a good word and a kick from Pentagon works a little better. And, he probably got talked to that it's not a good idea to stand in front of the flow and block it, because then you may not really succeed in reaching Mars in your endeavors. People on this level, they need to understand that situation is very complex, so they need to navigate the political and other environments. So I guess we're seeing some other influence getting to him. Well, he's a South African immigrant. He lived in Canada and then he moved to the United States, but he really is what he is now is due to American freedom. I can only imagine what would have come of him if he lived in Russia in some Saratov prison. He'd probably be with a broom up his butt, just like many other creative people end up, and creative businessmen end up in Russia. But he was lucky to be born in the family that he was born in, and he moved to the United States, and states opened opportunities for him of literally space proportions. Universal proportions, and you need to at some point pay back to the system as well. And frankly, Americans do like democracy. They don't like totalitarianism. Mark, one of the main values of the West are communication and cooperation. Human was on this planet was created as a breakfast for animals. Humans can only survive when they aggregated, when they gathered together, at least two or more. So our vector was always towards cooperation and communication. And if somebody starts to destroy cooperation and putting himself into a special position, then a collective will react because very often they take it as a threat to their existence. Even in things like strategic or political planning, we're just looking at the situation. Americans already provided about $17 billion to 16.7 to Ukraine, and they promised to continue supporting us in perpetuity while this conflict threatens our existence. And Europe supports. And then all of a sudden there is one guy who wants to, on their side, who wants to break a very important link in that chain of planning and military activity. This is a very valuable link that he addressed, because that's his business, because that's what he thinks, how he thinks he wants to continue. But war has a priority. And I think some people explained to him that it is not a good strategy to stand in the middle of group interests. And I think they basically, you don't even need to communicate too far. You only need to express that this is not a strategically sound decision. And he's a smart guy. He understands that what they meant, and then he basically restored the status quo. And yeah, he did publish. I just got that tweet too. To hell with you, right? We'll reinstate that. Okay, over 400,000 watching us, over 120 click the like button. And we're continuing. Please subscribe. A decree by the president of Ukraine, Igor Skabyuk, got an award, a hero of Ukraine. I studied together with this guy. He's a commander of the airborne brigade. Igor, if you hear me, I congratulate you from the depth of my heart. This is all well deserved. The 80th Brigade is showing amazing results, and under his command is doing extremely well. All right, the next thing I wanted to also touch today, plans for negotiations that are continued to be discussed. There are new events happening that indicate that Moscow indeed still wants to negotiate. Hang on, Mark. Let's look at this in a different angle. Have you seen a discussion with Imam Ali Rahman? What would you say? Oh, I've seen that. That's an interesting attempt. That's a continuation. Correct me. He's a Kulabits. He's a Tajik from the mountains, right? There are Kurgan Tibins, Vovchiks, Yurchiks, a complex structure there in that society. So this guy was not directly thrown stone. He kind of came from the side, and he listened to Putin and then countered him and saying, well, no, that politics doesn't work. You cannot treat us as younger brothers. We are equals here. And did you see how Putin looked at him? Yeah, that shows that he has no line of behavior when he gets resistance. So, political advice, anybody who deals with Putin, he doesn't know how to resist. So, how to deal with resistance. He was basically mumbling and very lost to trying to respond to Rahman, who basically, in a very delicate manner, explained that the times changed and you do not treat us as younger peoples. We are equals on this summit and we should be treated as such. And yeah, this, I think, is the same vector that's being unfolded from the previous summits that he attended, where he's being shown his place. And, you know, Moscow, regardless of their propaganda line where they scream will win over anybody, they're still looking for ways to connect, for ways to negotiate, for ways to sit down and talk. But they're looking for a productive meeting. They need a solution. They don't need just a meeting. They don't want to just talk. They want to get some results, and they want to start with something reasonable. You think the West still stands strong, and the maybe threats or wishes to complete and be done with that threat might bend a little? Mark, that threat of negotiation is gone. It has been liquidated by Putin himself with two events. First is annexation, the actual attempt to politically confirm the annexation. And the second is shelling of the cities and infrastructure. So on the annexation, we have a United Nations resolution and European Parliament resolution, and I don't see in today's conditions and today's situation any formal vector in the EU diplomacy that would allow Putin to sit down and negotiate. Of course, there'll be attempts by the same Turks, Emirates, to bring back the question, let's create a negotiation window at least to resolve partial matters, exchange the prisoners, and if that will be a success, maybe a next step, and talk about something else. But nobody considers peace talks seriously right now, because it is difficult to step over these resolutions that happened. And quoting Lukashenko, by the way, Zelensky, Americans and Brits forbade to do any negotiations. Oh yeah, that was in the media, definitely. That's his point of view. And if the negotiations are allowed, everything would be over in a week. Well, if they forbade negotiating, there will be no negotiations. So that's easy. All right. There is another extremist, Glaziev, an academician. Right. The man who knows how to lift the economy of Russia. Yeah, I was in Congress with him at one time. I've seen a lot of his funny statements. So he's stating that Russia ended up fighting with the whole West on the NATO scenario. We were deceived. We were given an illusion of our quick victory. And we believed that. Then there is a question. Why are you such idiots? Why the country? Are you 6-year-olds who can be deceived so easily? Why such a strong and smart country? How did you end up in this situation? They kept consulting with Biden and Johnson, and then were screaming, please do not bring us to war, right? Remember the early months? As if. And then they just, by some evil force, grabbed them and threw them into the fight with Ukraine. Okay. One can read through these statements of theirs. We are not responsible. We are not guilty. The United States and UK and allies are responsible for Bucha and all these destructions. We were just thrown into that fight, and then, it's a fog of war, and you don't know, you keep shooting, and all of a sudden you see 400 corpses of civilians. And Nikopol and Zaporozhye and Kharkiv are getting shelled because of Britain and the United States. We have nothing to do. Nikolaev and Kiev also getting people dead and wounded simply because of the United States and Britain. Second thing, we do want negotiations, right? And it flows from the first that since states and Britain pulled us into this war, they must have some interests. Let's talk about these interests. Third step, calm down, you're insane Zelensky, we don't need him at the table, let's talk with you and us directly. Next step, let's reinforce the position of the party in the United States that is eager to negotiate. So they're hoping still for November negotiations, and probably Trumpian Republicans who might consider negotiations stronger than current administration. And the next step is, oh, we don't want to use nukes. We are afraid of nukes. Don't push us to that. No, no, no. But this is a funny strategy. There'll be no negotiations because the absence of any negotiations with Putin's regime is the most beneficial strategy to bring that corrupt system to collapse, to a situation where Glaziev and the other commentators like that would reach the point when they want to remove Putin. And that would launch processes that'll be very poorly controlled and will be beneficial to us because when Putin's regime collapses, Russia would not be able to continue fighting here and they'll have to withdraw their troops from our territories. So not negotiating with them is the shortest strategy to victory for Ukraine. All right. Thank you, Olexiy. And in chat, I see everybody is tweeting me and sending me wishes and wells. Please don't worry about me. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm still a little sick, but this is not the serious situation. I'll be doing well rather soon. Yeah, I apologize. I sweat a little, but that's normal. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about, our next stream is on Monday, right? We don't have one on Sunday. Correct. So last thing for today is our new design. In our merch store, Feygin and Arestovich, we're drawn here as the heroes of South Park. I don't think it will be popular in European store, but perhaps in the US shores, that'll appeal to a wider audience. Would you want to be a hero, a character in a South Park? Mark, I'm sorry, I don't even know what it is. Don't mind, the young people know what it is. So, anyway, we're continuing our Feigin and Arestovich merch store. It's a charity program. We'll have more designs coming up soon. Please visit the store, pick what you like. And again, by the way, we're still trying to connect with the family of that girl from Nikopol. Please, somebody send them a message to write us to an email, to our Gmail. In the description to that channel, we understand that maybe most of them are in the hospitals after this horrible attack, and it may take some time, but we're trying to get in touch with a relative. We don't have a confirmed card number, and just get in touch with them, tell them that we need to transfer those couple thousand euros for the initial expenses to the family of the girl who got her legs amputated. All right, Saturday, enjoy your weekend. I'll go treat myself more. See you guys on Monday. See you later. Good luck.